I'll be discussing about fungi, algae, protozoa, and mold. So, I'll be distinguishing the characteristics of every eukaryotic organisms for us to be able to understand their difference to each other. First is the algae. So when we say algae, it is organisms that are photosynthetic, meaning it undergoes uh, photosynthesis. Algae could two things that we should remember or be familiarized with in the algae is the diatoms and the dinoflagellae. So the dinoflagellae are the type of algae which are responsible for the red tides in the ocean, sea, or water bodies. So red tides in the ocean. So if we encounter or if we receive news that on a certain coastal area there is a red tide, it means that an algae called dinoflagellae is the one responsible for that occurrence of red tide. So that's it for algae. It is photosynthetic and the mostly plant-like algae, plant-like organisms. Another is the protozoa. So when we say protozoa, it is a single-celled eukaryotic organisms. It can be categorized into or according to their flagella, cilia, and pseudopodia. Protozoa, it contains pathogen representatives which causes the common or known diseases such as malaria, the sleeping sickness, African sleeping sickness, and toxoplasmosis, and many more. So that's for protozoa. And usually protozoa is a specialized for plants. If algae is for are more like plant-like, the protozoa is more on animals. Next is the fungi. So when we say fungi, it is not photosynthetic, and instead of cellulose as its cell wall, the cell wall of the fungi is made up of a chitin. So in fungi, we have the yeast and the mold. So when we say yeast, we're all familiar with yeast, right? So it is the yeast is being used in bread making. Next is the mold. So molds are formed when there are branch of or the filament called the hyphae being branched together. So molds can trigger for the spore production or formation. So that's for the fungi. Fungi is not photosynthetic. And also, fungi undergo two types of reproduction. First is the sexual reproduction, which involves cell division such as mitosis and meiosis. And when we say sexual reproduction, it involves union of two sexual cells. So first, the parent cell containing haploid cell will combine to another parent cell which also has haploid cell, and then when they unite to each other, it will form a diploid cell or the gametes. So that's how new daughter cells are being produced. Meanwhile, for the asexual reproduction, from the word itself, asexual, means without. So in asexual reproduction, it does not need for a collision or a fusion of two sexual cells. In asexual, it can produce in its own from the cell itself. And another thing to differentiate between the two reproduction process is that in sexual reproduction, the products are not genetically identical. Meanwhile, for the asexual reproduction, the products being the product or the result are genetically identical since it came from the cell itself. Another is the slime molds. When we say slime molds, slime molds has both the characteristic of fungi and protozoa.